Hello, my name is Rorion Gracie. Since my brother Royce's impressive victories in reality fighting matches, everyone now recognizes the importance of ground fighting. As a result, Gracie Jiujitsu has become the #1 source of Jiu-Jitsu instruction in the world. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Intermediate was designed to build on the foundation that was established in our first series, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Basics. If you have practiced and mastered the techniques presented in the basics, you will find that your effectiveness in self-defense will be greatly enhanced by this new intermediate series. Your objective in a fight is to get to the mounted position. Once you accomplish this objective, there are many opportunities for you to win the fight. In this tape, I will show you how to capitalize on these opportunities. In this first tape, we will address various attacks you can use from the mounted position. The movements that you see can be very dangerous, and I urge you to be protective and careful of your training partner. Please. Let's do a quick review on some of the techniques we saw in the basic series. We had the arm lock from this position that you secure the arm. Bring your second hand under, hold your own wrist, keep your head down, lift the elbow up, and slide the hand this way. The other side, please. Be sure to keep your elbow next to his neck. Hold the wrist without the thumb. Second hand comes under. Hold your own wrist. Keep your head out of the way so that he can't punch at you with that free hand. By keeping his hand glued to the ground, lift the elbow up and slide the hand like a paintbrush, going this way. One more time. Secure the arm. Hold your wrist. Protect your face and bring it down. If you want to use your forehead on the back of your hand like this, it adds more leverage to the movement and increase your chance of being able to control his arm that way. Keep the elbow close next to his ear. Hold the wrist without the thumb. This hand goes under. Secure your own wrist. And if you want to reinforce your leverage, you can put your forehead on the back of the hand. Lift the elbow and slide down. Another move we saw in the previous series was when the person wants to push you back like this. Put both hands on the chest and keep the weight on his chest so that you can bring your legs up this way. So the hands on the chest, bring the leg over, and end up with the arm locked this way. By lifting the hip up, you will hyperextend the joint of the elbow. That's the move. One more time, please. He puts the hands on the chest. I'll bring both hands around his arm. The arm that's going to get broken is between your arms. So if you want to catch this arm on the arm lock, you bring your hand this way. If you want to catch this arm, you bring your hands this way. Hands on the chest. Jump up. Keep the weight on the chest because that will facilitate the pivoting. Hold his hand on your chest, feet on the ground, lift your hip up, and hyperextend the arm. When you do this move, be sure that you hold your hand with the thumb around the wrist. Because if you just do this, he can turn the hand and then escape from this position. It gives you much more control if you secure the hand with your thumbs around the wrist. So then lift your hip up. Okay, let's add a few new tricks. This is called the cross choke. Hand goes into the collar. The second hand goes on the other collar. Put your head down and then squeeze the neck. It will be easier for you to see what I'm doing and practice the techniques if we do it standing up. So Royce, let's get up, please. It's a very simple technique, but the big trick behind executing this movement correctly is remembering that you should not rely on your arm strength. So the first thing you want to do is with one hand open the collar so that the second hand has easy access to the back of the neck. I'm grabbing the collar this way. My hand just slides underneath all the way in. The second hand goes under the first arm and grabs the cloth in a fist-like motion like this. So the first hand goes in the collar, close my hand like a fist. The second hand goes under, grab the other collar, and with both hands in, I will turn the wrist, bring him towards my chest, and expand the chest. So 1, second hand goes in 2. My arms are very relaxed. Close my hand like a fist, and then I'm going to bring him close to me and expand the chest. Once you bring your hand into the collar, and the second hand grabs the other cloth like this, your hands should try to touch each other back there. The idea is to open the collar, bring your hand around, bring the other hand underneath. The second hand is always under the first arm. If you can do this with nobody there in front of you, just grab the hands like this would be great. Close your hand like a fist. See almost like a triangle or a diamond inside of your hands. From this position, you turn the wrist this way so that this blade of the wrist rests against the person's neck. This is the move. From here, please don't arm strength the whole choke. The plan is to use your chest and expansion of your shoulders backwards so that the movement is this and not arms pulling around his neck. So 1, grab the hand on the collar, the second hand goes in, turn your wrists, and as you bring the opponent close to your chest, is if you want to do an inhaling motion. The idea is to expand by using the chest expansion. One more time, Royce, please. Grab the collar, the second hand goes way back in, close your hand. As you turn your wrists, you want to bring your opponent towards your chest and expand your chest this way. Let me turn this way here, please. Hand goes into the collar and close your hand like a fist. 1. Second hand goes under and grabs the other collar. That's the move. Be sure to turn your wrists this way so that the blade of the wrist rests against the neck. So as I turn the wrist, it should be very tight already. Then as I bring him close towards me, once again, do not rely on your arms to pull the choke or do this kind of motion. That's absolutely wrong. 1, 2, bring him to your chest and then expand the chest. If you do it right, it doesn't even hurt the opponent. It's something that is so subtle that it's almost like a numbing feeling. It actually feels good for the person who's being choked out. So the hands go in, turn the wrist. Isn't that right, Royce?
Just fall asleep.
So you grab the hands on the collar, turn the wrist, expand the chest. Most people are going to grab the neck and just squeeze. Like any other technique, I mean, like most the chokes, even if a poorly applied technique is going to be effective. If you have a 16 size neck and you put a 15 size shirt on your neck, which is, a little bit tight, and you go to work in the morning, by the time you drive into the parking lot, you'll be passing out, falling asleep. So any choke is something that you have to be taking very careful application with. Therefore, I enforce you, as I said, I urge you, as I mentioned before, to be very careful with your training partner. And the person who is taking the choke, don't try to resist too much. You have to be aware of the change on the feeling on that moment, on that kind of movement. So the hand goes into the collar, make it really snug, turn your wrist, and bring him close to you. As you expand the chest, he is going to start feeling lightheaded. If you do it right, it should be something like 1, 2, 3, 4 type thing. He goes in the twilight zone. All right, so one last time here. So the hand goes into the collar this way. The second hand goes under, way in. Turn your wrists and bring him towards your chest. The idea is to expand the chest and not pull with the arm. Okay? 1, 2, and expand the chest. It will make all the difference if, as you apply the technique, you make sure to open the lapel first with one hand. Don't try to just catch this hand because you can't get a very comfortable grip. Use the hand to open the collar to facilitate the initial grip. The second hand goes under, all the way back. Close your hand like a fist, turn the wrist, and bring him towards your chest to squeeze the neck. Lay down. So once you get in this position here, allow yourself an extra second to loosen up the collar on your opponent's gi. Hand goes into the neck, the second hand goes way under. Look, Royce is lifting the head up so that you can see what's happening on my hands. Close your hand like a fist. Because I can't pull him up as I did standing up, I bring my body down. I come down towards him, putting my head on the ground, and then squeezing the neck. All right. Every time you feel you're looking to get a choke on somebody's neck, keep in mind that you don't want to just squeeze the person's neck. That's not what you want. What you're working with is that you're stopping the circulation to the brain. So you have to try to feel your wrist sealing against the person's neck. You want to stop, you want to kind of, it's a piece of clay that you mold against the person's neck. That's the kind of feeling you're looking for. So your hand or your wrist should be relaxed so that you kind of take the shape of the neck around his neck. My hand is very loose, like there's a snug feeling around the person's neck. The person down here almost likes that hand like a pillow around his neck. You should make it comfortable for him. Anyway, the hand goes around the neck this way. The second hand, if instead of going under to grab the cloth this way, you want to do this way here, it's also an option. Grabbing over the arm. But if you're going over the arm, your thumb this way, this time is over like this. Let me turn your head to the side a little bit more. So the first hand goes into the collar this way here. And the second hand, instead of going under for this choke that we saw, the cross choke, you bring with the thumb inside. Again, you close your hand like a fist. Don't grab the cloth like this with your thumb inside, because you put pressure and stress on this thumb. Instead, grab the thumb over your four fingers. You wrap your four fingers on the cloth, and the thumb will go over the four fingers. That's the idea, is to wrap it like this. First hand on the collar, the second hand goes way in. The four fingers wrap on the cloth first, and then the thumb sits on top of it. Like that. From here, the blade of the arm goes across his chest, and once again, I put my weight on top of him. As I go down, squeeze the neck. So the first hand goes into the collar, the second hand goes over with the thumb inside, rest your weight on top of him, and squeeze. The other side, please, boys. The hand grabs the collar inside here. Second hand goes over. The thumb goes way inside. Close your hand like a fist this way. Bring the blade of the arm across the neck and rest your whole body weight on top of it. Hand on the collar, way in. Notice that I'm always creating a little extra space by pulling the collar open. One, the second hand goes over. Close your hand like a fist. If I have to loosen up the grip on the first hand, I will do that to give me a little more leeway with the cloth. Second hand goes way back. Turn your wrist inwards, keeping your wrist straight, kind of scraping down into his neck. Bring your head down and squeeze the neck. Another technique that is very effective from this position is what we call the kneading choke. One hand grabs the collar, the second hand will grab the cloth this way. That's the. From here, you want to bring the cloth across his neck. Not too much to go out of his neck with your hand. Not too much to go with the hand out of his neck. You want to rest these last two fingers right here on the side of the artery, on the carotid around the side. So you grab the cloth, take the slack out, bring it across the neck, and as you pull back with this hand, lean the body weight down into the neck. The idea is to rest your body weight on the person's neck. So you take the slack with one hand, and the other hand just pushes into his neck. As if you want to do this motion here, like this. This is the plan, as if you want to put all your weight on that arm. So you pull back with one hand and drive in the other hand. Hand goes across the collar, bring it across, And as I push one hand, I will pull the other one. Keep this arm straight so that you can transfer the weight of the whole body onto that hand. So the idea is to do this move. That's what you're looking for. Hand goes across the neck like this. Take the slack out with one hand and push in, leaning the whole body weight into the person's neck. This way, and the other side will be exactly the same thing. You take the slack out. The purpose of this hand is to pull the cloth so that there's no loose material around his neck. Tighten up like a hangman's noose. Across the neck, pull back with one hand and drive the body weight into the move. This is the motion you're looking for. The leverage comes from the upper body here, driving the weight downwards. Pull back with one hand and then lean forward. One last time here. So you're mounted on your opponent. Get a hold of the cloth this way or this way. One hand pulling and one hand pushing. And drive the whole body weight on top of this move. The next move is when you grab one hand on the collar with the thumb inside first. The second hand grabs further back out. And now, like a guillotine, you will bring the blade of the arm across the neck this way. The idea is to get a real deep bite with that first hand down towards the ground, touching the ground with the hand. Keep your wrist straight. The second hand grabs the collar from underneath right here, so to prevent the cloth from giving and moving around the neck. And then bring the elbow down to the ground. So if this hand is touching the ground, get this from the side here for a sec. If this hand is touching the ground, and I secure a good grip next to the ground, and I want to bring my elbow down, by the time the elbow touches the ground, his head goes boom, 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 roll up. So you grab the collar, secure the open the collar and grab with this hand. The second hand comes in. You don't have to grab too deep with that second hand, just enough so the cloth doesn't slip around his neck. And then bring your elbow down in like a guillotine type motion, like a paper cutter that you just kind of slice down. So the hand goes in, grabs the cloth. The second hand grabs a little further back here and bring this elbow to the ground. And just bring it across the neck this way. The other side is the same thing. Grab the collar. Use your hand resting on the ground. And as you bring the elbow down, you put your weight on top of the arm this way. Avoid coming down with your body here, because otherwise it's going to be just arm strength. By keeping your body weight up and just leaning, resting on top of this elbow, you have the whole mass of the body pushing the pressure into his neck. So take the slack out with one hand and just drive the weight in. Grab the cloth, take the slack out with one hand, keep your hand down here and push the whole body, driving the elbow to the ground in this manner. So one more time, create the space on the collar, open up the lapel, reach in deep with the hand like this. Be sure that you wrap your four fingers on the cloth and the thumb sits on top of the four fingers. Second hand grabs underneath here, rest your hand on the ground and bring the blade downwards, keeping your body straight so that you can use the body weight onto the neck this way. Okay. Grab the collar, deep, second hand on the other collar, bring the elbow across and drive the weight downwards. The next technique you're going to see is a nutcracker, where you grab the collar like this, the second hand goes in like this, and using the cloth, the jacket for support, you pull into the cloth and squeeze the knuckles inwards. So grab from this side, the other hand on the other side. Don't just use your hands. Be sure that you pull with the back of your hand here. You use this for support. And then put the knuckles in, driving into the neck this way. If you just grab the collar like this and try to squeeze, it's arm strength. That's not the plan. The plan is to pull on the cloth with the back of your hand here. So you pull onto the cloth and drive the knuckles in. The place to put the pressure is right on the line of the ear, right here, on the nerve on the side of the neck. You don't want to crush the jawbone or the neck or the back of the head. That's not what you want. It's right here. There's a very tender spot right in the middle of the neck, right here. That's what you're looking for. So the knuckles, the top knuckles of your hand will reach in like this, grabbing both hands. Put the neck, the pressure on the neck, and just rest your weight on top of him and drive the knuckles inwards like this. Grab the cloth, second hand grabs the other collar. Use the knuckles onto the back of the neck right here, both at the same height. Your partner actually should guide you as far as making sure that you have the right sensitive spot. So sometimes you might put the hands at different heights. It might throw off a little bit the pressure. It doesn't feel as efficient. But if you use your partner as a sounding board, he should be sure to line up your hands to the right sensitive spot on the back, on the side of the neck. So one hand, two hands, they grab the cloth. They should be fairly even distance from the ground. Pull on the cloth. The pulling on the cloth is the trick. Don't just use your hands to do this motion. Be sure that you pull, you tug on the cloth and use that to drive the knuckles inwards. Of course, the knuckles on the top of the hand, not these ones here. That's the one. Grab the cloth, pull on the collar, and then drive the knuckles inwards into the neck. Okay. So anyway, so the hands will grab the collar like this. Both hands stay down, and then push the knuckles inwards into the neck. You might want to observe that as you do this move, you should use your elbow or maybe both elbows on the ground for balance, so that you can establish a base here. Don't find yourself, just tingling on the ground with your hands on his neck off balance. I also, at this point, use my feet kind of clamped underneath hoist to hold me from falling forward. I can control my body height, whatever I want. If I don't have this, I will collapse forward. But by using the foot supporting myself underneath hoist, I can go as low and as far as I want. So it gives me much more control on my base. From that position, you can then control how low, grab the collar, both hands, use either elbow on the ground for balance, and then push the knuckles into his neck, making sure that you pull on the back of the cloth. The trick is using that cloth for support. That's what you're looking for. So using these feet, establish your position, and then drive the knuckles into the neck. Okay. Our next technique is that sometimes you find yourself in this position and your opponent turns sideways to defend himself like this. He turns sideways. So put one leg up, bring the other leg behind his neck, and this hand, once again, I loosen up the cloth to allow me a better grip. Bringing the second hand under so I can grab the cloth with this kind of grip. The hand goes this way. Open the collar with one hand, and the second hand goes under this way. So if I'm in this position here, turn this way a little bit, hoist, please. This position, he turns sideways, put your leg up. This is still the mounted position. It's okay that he turns sideways. One hand creates a space so that the second hand can go under his neck and get a deep bite this way. Once again, there's a hand feeding the cloth to the other hand. They work together this way. 1, 2, there you go. Once you secure the hand this way, this hand will grab the other collar, push it either down to the ground for balance, that you can use this for support on the ground, and then raise this whole backside straight up. 1, 2. Keep your wrist straight, please. Don't bend your wrist this way here. Keep your wrist straight with the blade into his neck. That's the move. The second hand grabs on the other collar, once again to prevent this collar from sliding around when you squeeze with this first hand. Push down and bring back. If you settle for just any place on the cloth, there will be enough of a gap here to facilitate his resistance. It's going to take a lot more strength and much more time to make the technique work. So there again, I recommend that you take an extra half a second here to, instead of settling for any grip, go in deep. The deeper this hand can go into the neck this way, the sooner it will put pressure on his neck and causing him to tap out. Top once again on the other side, please. So I'm here, you turn sideways. Allow him to turn sideways, find yourself in a comfortable stance here. Leg behind his neck, the other leg is standing up. One hand opens the collar, the second hand goes way under. That's the move. Open the collar and slide it in. That's the move you're looking for. The hand goes way in. The deeper the bite with this hand inwards, the quicker he taps out. Take the slack away with this second hand, pushing away, and pull back with the whole body. 1, 2. You want to use your whole body to straighten this arm. 1, push the hand down. The elbow slides up as a result of the shoulder rising. If I have the first hand on the collar this side or on this side, and he turns sideways now, there we go again. He's already facilitating this motion. Grab the second hand on the collar and pull back this way. Once you have the hand on the collar this way here, you can also push his head back using the hand like this on the back of his neck. You can bring the hand way into the neck and put this hand on your arm right here. Whatever you want. They're all different variations of how to finish the move using the same principle of the hand grabbing the collar and the second hand tightening up. The idea is to prevent the guy from turning, therefore increasing the pressure on his neck. This would also work, and there's a whole bunch of different variations you can use for the same choke. Sometimes when you have the first hand on the collar, if your training partner has also been smart enough to practice the techniques we have on the basic series, he has his hand here at this point, ready to throw you out. As soon as you see this hand, you put your leg up, and he now is sideways, but he can't throw me anymore because the leg is up. Guess what? Look where his arm is here. By having his arm in this position, this hand can also go to your own collar at this point. Put this hand on the ground in front of his neck. My leg is pinning his head against the arm. So I have the arm secured. This hand is on the ground. And when I put the weight here, it will enable me to bring the leg around into the arm lock that we have seen before. This is called the double attack, because I start preparing for the choke. I see his hand getting ready to throw me over. If I don't do anything, he'll trap my foot, as we saw before, and then raise his hip and flip me out. But what I do here is that I put this leg up and slide my knee under. It turns sideways. I can actually help him a little bit if you have to, aid him into turning. From this position, I want to grab my collar to secure the arm. Now the arm is strapped. My hands are here for balance until I decide to put the hand in front of his head, pinning his head against my leg and the arm, this way. Got the arm secured. Put your weight on this front hand as a pivoting point. Bring your leg around, lay back, and you now have his arm to complete this way. By raising your hip, you once again hyperextend the joint of the elbow. Same thing on the other side, please. The hand is on the collar. Always open the collar, slide the hand in. Makes it a lot easier than just trying to grab with one hand. One. You hold the arm. Getting ready to flip me out. Leg up. Here I am, sideways now. With the knee kind of wedging him behind his back so he can't roll backwards. This hand feeds the collar to this first hand. Be sure that you grab behind the elbow, because if you hold this way here, he could slip the elbow out and escape. Whereas if you use your chest behind this elbow here, bracing with the chest, this hand come here, secure the arm. There's that hugging feeling that you control the arm with your body at this point. Secure the arm, bring this hand in front of his face, pin your hand to the ground. The trick, once again, is if you don't put your weight on your hand, you will find difficulty in bringing that leg around. Whereas if you put the weight here, it's a lot smoother to spin the leg in one flowing motion, to go backwards. And once again, here we have the arm for the hyperextending with the lift of the hip. Some people are going to be more limber than others in executing this technique. And as we've been saying all along, in order to practice jiu-jitsu, especially if you do it the way we recommend, which is something that does not require speed, strength, or coordination, it should be very easy for you to do the technique. And you may say, hold on, but what if I'm not limber enough to swing that leg around? What if I'm out of shape? I'm just doing this thing as a hobby. I say, well, let's make it possible for you, my friend. Put the leg up. You turn him sideways. Make sure that you adjust the elbow in front so that you have control on the arm. Secure the collar this way. And for some of you that by putting the hand here, still don't have the ability to bring the leg over his head, you still might find yourself with difficulty to bring the leg over. Remember that you can put your hand right on his head, which raises your height a little bit, therefore facilitating a lot the swinging of the leg. Hold the wrist and raise your hip. And don't worry about crushing the person's head, because he won't crush his head. It's not. We're talking about serious hard heads here. Put your hand on his head like this. Rest the weight, because it's easy for the guy to support the weight. There's nothing to it. It's just like a helmet. You can't hurt the person's head. Put your hand like this, open hand right in the head. Lock your elbows straight. If you hold back the weight and don't want to bother him by putting the weight here, it's not going to be enough balance for you. So put your weight, smack his head down like this, and swing the leg around. Hold the wrist and raise your hip. Of course, Royce is being nice to me today and letting me smack him around. Thank you, Royce. So that's why I'm going to do one more time. Do what I can while I can. So grab the collar, control the arm, put the weight on the head. Rest your arm straight here so that you can put the weight down. The weight of the body is all on the head, and swing the leg around for this motion. Hold the arm, raise your hip. All right, let's see another choke. It's very common, and as a matter of fact, you have seen Royce do this many times in his no-holds-barred matches. When it gets to a position like this, when you get to the mounted position and you hit your opponent, it's not uncommon that he turns over because he doesn't want to get hit in the face. So he turns over into this position here. Okay? What happens is by turning over, he exposes himself not only to be hit from behind, but even worse than that is to get choked from behind. Bring your hand around the neck this way. The second hand goes in the back of his neck, and then bring him close to your chest and squeeze this way. On your knee twice, please. Let's review this move. Like I said before, any choke, even a poorly applied choke, can be very dangerous. So be protective towards your partner. It's very important that you kind of keep a standard agreement that every time you start feeling a pressure on the choke, you tap out. So let me remind you of that. As you start squeezing your friend's neck or arm, you know, as you practice the techniques, be aware of the choke's effectiveness, and your training partner should be prepared to tap out as soon as he feels any kind of discomfort on the neck, okay? So the first part of the move is bring your hand around the person's neck. You want to line up your elbow with his chin, this way. This hand sets up around your arm or shoulder, whatever feels comfortable for you here. The main thing is to keep this part around the neck snug. So this is one part right here. The second hand goes on the back of his neck. And then, by expanding your chest and your shoulders, backwards, you want to do this move. You want to expand the chest. 1, 2, 3. Once again, it's not the arm strength movement. Don't force with this hand. 1, adjust this hand. Second hand behind his neck. Keep your head down and then push your chest forward. So the hand goes on the back of the neck. Adjust this way. Second hand goes this way. The hand goes behind his head. And then push your chest forward. 1. Set the hand over here. Don't bring this hand backwards, please. Keep your hand like this, as if you're combing his hair. The hand goes on the back of his neck like this. And don't use your head skipping it away from the body. Keep your head down close, as if you're hugging the person. Pretend you really like the guy. You really want to hug the guy close to you. You want to bond with him, so that by the time your hand goes into this, the second hand, there's an overall hugging feeling. That's what you want. The snugger you can put yourself around the person's neck, the less opportunity there will be for the circulation to happen, which is your objective. So by bringing the hand around the neck, the second hand goes back in, and put your shoulders back. If you do it right, as I said before, it doesn't even hurt your partner. It's just like a warm feeling that he's going to get through his body. So the idea is to bring the hand around the neck this way, bring your hand up, 2, and then raise your shoulders. The movement is the shoulders going back and your chest pushing forward. That's the movement. It's expanding the chest. The other side is 1, 2, lock it up, and squeeze the neck. The hand goes around the neck. 1, 2, and 3. There's one detail about this move that we have to add here. Is as you position the hand around the neck, the pressure that he feels is continuously growing. In other words, you don't place the hand on the neck and in a separate motion squeeze separately. That's not the idea. The idea is that as I put the hand on the neck, I'm already adjusting the neck up. It's already feeling the adjustment. The second hand goes in. By the time he locks in, he's going out. So there's going to be a gradual but continual increase on the pressure as we go on to the technique. Okay, please. Once again, please. So we can apply the choke from behind if the person turns over on his own. So in the middle of the fight, he turns over, we go for that choke. Sometimes, however, he doesn't want to turn over. And this is what the technique we're going to use to kind of help him to turn over. Okay? So either you're slapping the person, or you're squeezing his neck, or you're distracting him, and he raises his hand to protect himself from getting hurt. So one hand on the back of his elbow, push the elbow forward, secure the wrist, and bring your shoulder behind the edge of the neck. I mean, the elbow fits right here on the back of my shoulder. 1. This hand goes under his neck, securing his wrist. That's the idea. Feed the hand to the other side. From here, use your body to roll him over. Fold the elbow down, and with your chest, push him over this way. Você já arrasta, please. So you fight with the guy here, you might slap him a couple of times, you raise the hand to protect his face, hold the wrist and push the elbow. The idea is to bring his elbow right here on the groove of the neck, so that he can't force the arm back. Turn this way, Hoist. I'm controlling him with the neck this way. This hand goes under and secure the wrist.
One hand feeds the wrist with the other hand. From here, raise your body, use your chest to push him over. It's not your hands that are going to turn him over here. Your chest is what's going to drive him over that way. Now you're on the back of him, and you can once again go for the same choke if you wish to do so. One more time, please. So I'm here, you raise the arm, push the arm to the side, secure the wrist, and bring your shoulder, the groove of the neck, here, right above your shoulder, under the back of his elbow. This hand goes underneath, hold your wrist, hold his wrist, and with your body, you want to roll him over. Turn this way a little bit. Be sure to clear this leg so that when he starts to roll, he doesn't get trapped on top of your own leg. So move your leg out of the way a little bit so that you give him space to roll over. You want him turning over to his stomach. Sometimes he's going to land on his elbow here, which prevents him from turning more. Can't go any further because his own elbow is bracing him. So it's up to you to use your free hand, because the other hand is holding his wrist here. Use your free hand, shift the weight off his back a little bit, pull the elbow down, and then wrap him up by leaning the weight this way. Always ready to establish your base, and you can now, as I said, go once again for the choke and complete the move this way. Once again, please. So you're on top of the person like this, bug his neck, use the hand to block that, push the elbow up and trap the arm. Hold the wrist, bring hand comes under, secure his wrist. The purpose of this hand holding his wrist is to prevent him from turning backwards this way. Can't unwind here anymore. Use the elbow in your chest. Use your chest to roll him over. The trick is to keep continuously readjusting your body further and further down on his body to force him to roll over. Watch out for that elbow on the ground right here. Take the weight off, fold his arm down, and with your chest, push him forward so that you have the position under control. His own body now is strapping his arms. It's a very uncomfortable position. His body weight is strapping his own arms like that. It feels like wrapped up like a present at this point. So from here, hand goes under the neck, and then complete with the choke. So another version of, another way that you can go to the person's back is when you're mounted like this, you have the hand on the collar. From this position, you turn him sideways, you know, helping him with this hand. And from here, get a hold of him, embrace the person, sit back, and bring the lower leg outwards to hook the legs this way. So that you can find yourself on his back this way. Once again, Hans, please. So from here, I got the hand on the collar. He kind of holds on to this. I'm going to turn him to the side. Again, there's my leg up and the second leg bracing me here from behind. Get a hold of the guy any way you want. Pull him with you. The trick is that your body is now glued, hugging him tight. And as you throw your body back, he comes up with you. Bringing the second leg out, hooking it here. And you're going to find yourself behind his back with the legs hooking inside of his legs like that. This is the position of your feet, just like that. Okay? Once again, please. So from here, do it on the other side. So the person is here. Turn him sideways, get a hold of him, see his elbow is up. We could go for that choke we talked about. His elbow is holding on tight. I mean, the arm lock we talked about. If the arm is tight from this position, we're here. Bring him back open with you, and then catch the legs. Hooking the legs this way. One more time, please. Grab the hand on the collar. Turn him over. Get a hold of him. If he has the arm this high, we can either go for this option of grabbing the arm here, pinning his head down this way or this way, and bringing the leg over as we talked about before. If he keeps the elbow tucked in and you can't get a hold of the arm, then you're behind his back. Embrace the person here. Pull him backwards and hook the legs. It's very important that you put your feet this way and do not cross your legs. Keep your legs this way. Once you have the hooks established behind his back like this, even if he tries to roll now, you're going to be able to keep on his back because of the hook. So if he rolls, the hook keeps me on his back. The idea here is to make sure that you have your legs strapped inside of his legs so that establishes your position behind his back. By having the hooks here, he can't just roll out. If he starts to turn, my legs will help me to keep the position of base behind his back. So the control of the legs here is very important. To the other side, Horace, please. So it gives me the sensitivity to know where he's going and allows me to maintain the back position. Okay, so anytime you find yourself behind a person's back, hook the legs this way. Do not cross your feet, just put your legs this way. Royce, why don't you lay down, please, once again on your stomach. If you're choking a person this way here, and you're getting ready for the choke, for example, this way, and he gets up, if you don't hook the legs, you're going to lose your position. No good. One more time, please. If I just think about the choke, go ahead, and I have no hooks, I'm going to fall off. There's nothing to grab me on his back. I have no support to stay on his back. So this is why, once again, please. As soon as he raises his body, my legs will go inside, hooking the legs like we talked about. There you go again with the legs hooked on the leg. So if he rolls, I now have time to prepare the choke, just to stay on his back. He keeps rolling. And here we are again with the legs controlled the way we want. So it's imperative, very important that you hook the legs this way and you don't just forget the hooks. Let's review one more choke. So you turn your partner to the side like this, get a hold of him, bring him back this way. Once you find yourself in this position behind his back, one hand opens the collar so the second hand can go in, grabbing deep with the thumb inside. Second hand grabs the other collar, pushes it down and away, and then lean back, straightening the arm. The idea is to grab the cloth, feed it to this first hand. Second hand grabs further down to prevent the cloth from sliding out. And by bringing the elbow and the shoulder back, straightening both of my arms, you then bring the blade of the arm across his throat. The idea is to straighten. From the other side is this. Open the collar. Get a real deep bite with this hand. The second hand grabs the other cloth. Like I said, the blade of the arm goes into his throat. One. Push it away. And then bring back by doing this move. One. Real deep bite. Two, grab the cloth here, straight your arm, and pull back. So once it's behind the person's back, let's turn this way just a little bit. Open the collar, get a real deep bite this way. Second hand pushes the cloth away. Keep this wrist straight, and then bring the blade across the neck this way. One last time. Behind his back with the hook on the legs. The hand goes way in. Close your hand like a fist, this way. Second hand grabs the collar further down. Push the cloth away and bring the blade straight across the neck as you lean back. All right. Lay down, Hoist, please. So from here, turns over. Bring the person back over you this way. And I have the hand already here, so I can feed the collar to this hand, second hand on the other collar, and pull back to choke this way. Or feed the cloth to this side, untangle the grip, and pull back this way. Let's do a quick review of all the techniques we saw in this tape. You saw the choke that you open the collar, get a good grip, second hand goes way in, turn the wrists inwards, put your head down and squeeze the neck. The other one is when you have the hand same way, same initial grip this way, second hand goes with the thumb inside over like this, and bring the blade across the neck. Again, bring your weight down. The third one is a kneading choke, when you always take a second to untangle the cloth on the person's gi. Bring the cloth across the neck, putting the pressure of the two last little knuckles here on the back of on the side of the neck. Pull back with this hand and lean your whole body weight into the choke this way. The fourth one is the guillotine that you grab with the collar, with the thumb inside. The other hand grabs the cloth right here, bringing the blade of the arm across the neck. Coming this way. The other side, same thing. Bring the cloth down this way. The other one is if the person turns sideways. Actually, the nutcracker. So if they grab both hands this way, be sure to pull on the cloth. Use your feet for support, and the knuckles will go on the side of the neck, digging inwards. Then we have the one if the person from this position turns sideways. You feed your hand behind his neck. Let me turn this way, hoist a little bit. I'm here. He turns sideways. Feed the collar way in. This hand grabs the cloth, push down to the ground, and bring the shoulder up. We do this once again on the other side. Here. You turn sideways. Bring the cloth around. Get a good grip on the cloth. Push the cloth down. And then the whole body drags my arm away. The other option is when I do this move, reaching in for the collar, he puts his arm over my arm. From here, I can now feed the collar to this hand. Put your hand on the ground or on top of his head. This way or this way, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Grabbing your collar, put the weight on this hand, and bring the leg over. Lay back and lift your hip up to hyperextend the arm. The other side, hoist. Here. Turns over sideways, the arm is exposed. I grab my collar with this. Put the hand on the head. Keep the weight on this hand. Swing the leg over. Lay back. And once again, lift the hip up. If he turns over to his stomach, he now exposes his neck to get choked out from behind on the carotid choke like this. One. Cinching it up is crucial. Rest your hand right here. Hook the neck, and then squeeze the neck. At this point, remember that if I'm doing this move and he gets up, hook your legs. So that if he rolls, I have the hook on the leg here to keep him in the same position. Go the other way, hoist. So that it gives him control. It can keep my balance regardless of the kind of choke I have or might not have on his neck. From here, you can then squeeze and finish it up. Put it down, please. Wait. There's also another option that if the person does not want to turn over and you do want to turn him over to his stomach, you put a little pressure on his neck, he blocks with a hand. Use your neck to wedge the back of his elbow here. Feed one hand to the other, controlling his wrist. Wedge the elbow, use your chest to push him over. Clearing the elbow downwards, bring it across, lift his head up and go for the choke here if you want. Other side, please. So I'm here, push the guy's elbow across with the hand, or distracting him with a couple of hits, push the elbow across, hold the wrist, fold the elbow, use your chest. Be sure to lift that leg up, please, so that he doesn't wrap up his body on top of your leg. Roll him across, fold the elbow downwards, push the weight forward, center your weight here, and then go for the choke. Once again, if he gets up, hook your legs inside so that you can roll with him, and then squeeze his neck from here if you have to. The other position is if you find yourself in here. Another way to turn him over is to roll him sideways, adjust him close to you, and from here, by hugging him with this hand or grabbing him by the gi, you can sit back, bring your bottom leg out and over so that you find yourself with the hooks on his leg. From this position, you can now create a space with one hand, feeding the collar for the second hand, adjust the choke, and pull back and squeeze the neck. So from here, once again, turn him over sideways, get a hold of him, pull him over here, get the hook on the leg, create space, grab a good grip on the cloth, second hand finds the other collar, lay back and straight your arms away from the guy. This is another option. Thank you, Hoist. As you practice these techniques, please be protective of your partner. Don't forget to, remind him to tap out as soon as he feels any kind of pressure on the neck, and practice these techniques slowly because they're very efficient and they should not hurt as you put the pressure gradually on your partner's neck or arm, whatever you're practicing at that moment. This concludes tape number 1. On tape number 2, we'll show you some attacks on how to handle the position when the person is inside of your guard.
Hello, my name is Gracie. Since my brother Royce's impressive victories in reality fighting matches, everyone now recognizes the importance of ground fighting. As a result, Gracie Jiujitsu has become the #1 source of Jiu-Jitsu instruction in the world. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Intermediate was designed to build on the foundation that was established in our first series, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Basics. If you have practiced and mastered the techniques presented in the basics, you will find that your effectiveness in self-defense will be greatly enhanced by this new intermediate series. Many people mistakenly assume that a man on his back during a ground fight is at a disadvantage. They are wrong. In this tape, I will show you there's no such a thing as a bad position if you know what you're doing. In this tape, we're going to show you how to initiate an attack from the guard, which is a very common position you might find yourself in against a much bigger and stronger opponent. First, let's review some of the techniques we saw in the basic series.
We have the arm lock when you hold the wrist, uncross your legs, sit up, hold your own wrist, plant your feet on the ground, and then lean back. Scoot your hip away, put your leg over his back, and by keeping his elbow glued to your chest, torque forward. One more time. Hold the wrist, sit up, feet on the ground for balance, hold your own wrist, push off your legs, lean back, scoot your hip away, glue his arm to your chest, keep your leg over his back, and then torque forward. The other side, please, Hoist. So from here, you have your opponent inside of your legs in your guard. Hold the wrists and cross the legs and sit up. Hold your own wrist. At this point, you want to kind of hug this arm towards your body like this so that he's part of you here. Use your legs to drive the weight back. Scoot your hip away. Leg over his back. And by keeping this grip and the arm glued to your chest, torque forward. The idea is to bring his arm in an L shape forward this way. So glue the elbow to the chest and bring the hand forward. One last time, Hoist. So from here, hold the wrist, sit up. Use your legs to push back with. Hold your wrist, lean back, scoot your hip away, leg over his back, glue his arm to your chest, and then torque forward. Another technique that we saw on tape on the basic series is when you find yourself in this position and you're trying to go for the arm lock, the opponent holds his wrist behind your back, preventing you from being able to execute the arm lock. In this case, uncross your legs, sit up, bring your hand around the neck, and this hand holds your own wrist. This is what you're looking for. When you go around the neck this way here, be sure you don't go under his arm. You should go in front of his neck. Hold your wrist, cinch up the movement to bring the blade of the arm across in front of his throat, way up. Then as you lay back, cross your legs and push him away, pulling the hand. The idea is to bring it up here and with the legs push him away. So in this position, go for the arm lock. He holds his wrist behind my back, making it difficult for me to insist and pursue the attack to the arm. My feet are on the ground, sit up straight. It's very important to find yourself comfortable in a comfortable base at this moment. Bring the hand around the neck, hold your own wrist. As I said, you want to hold your wrist this way so that you can bring the blade of the arm in front of his neck. Like this. Find your own wrist, lay back, cross your legs, and like traction, your legs will push him away and the hands will bring his neck upwards. Excuse me, wait for a second. The movement is here. Okay, you go for the arm lock, he blocks and holds around your waist. Find yourself in this kind of base. Bring your hand around the neck. This way, hold your own wrist. As you lay back, cross your legs, and with the legs you push his body away and stretch the neck upwards. That's the move. One. He holds the arm behind my back, sit up, bring the hand around the neck. I hold my own wrist, adjust it way up, legs cross, and push him back. One last time on the other side, please. Go for the arm, he holds the wrist. Find yourself in a comfortable balance here, a good base. Bring the hand around the neck this way. Hold your own wrist, cinch it up, lay back, and push him away with the legs and pull with the hands. All right. As your partner gets ready, or your opponent gets ready to pass the guard by holding the arm here and put the leg up so that he can accomplish the idea of passing the guard, that's his objective. He wants to do this move. Okay? Once again, please, hoist. Once we get to this position and he does this move here, we're going to work on a sweeping movement right now. Your hand should always be on the collar. This hand always on the collar. So as soon as we start, knee down please for a second. As soon as we start the match here, my hand opens the collar for this hand. If he does not secure my arm with this hand, this goes into the neck as we saw before, and go to the choke, and I can then bring him down and squeeze his neck. So the reason this arm is holding the bicep is to prevent my hand from going to the choke. So I have this arm trapped so I can't choke him. He now puts the leg up and is getting ready to pass the guard. As soon as he puts this leg up, I'd like you to uncross your legs, rest your weight on this leg here, on the calf of your leg on his thigh. Swing your hip away, and from here, the leg lays flat on the ground, the other knee goes across his body like this, and in a scissor-like move, sweep the man down and find yourself in a mounted position. One more time, please. Turn this way a little bit. Okay, so he holds my arm to prevent the choke. He puts the leg up. At this moment, I want to uncross the legs, rest the weight here, and swivel the hip away. What's going to make this technique easy to be executed by you is that you don't try to drag your behind on the ground. There's too much friction. It's going to feel too heavy. The trick is to let your leg rest in here on his calf and also put the weight on your shoulder on the ground. By resting my weight on his leg and my shoulder on the ground, it allows my hip to swivel away. I'm not touching the ground. I'm off the ground for an inch. It's very easy to swing my leg. I uncross the leg, slide my hip away, and I find myself here. The foot should fit right around his waist like this. And from this position, the legs will now scissor and flip him over so that I can end up in a mounted position. One more time, please. It's the leg up, uncross the legs, rest your leg here. In a sense, the weight of this leg, as I lift my hip up, I kind of swing my hip away. That's the move. The leg falls in position, bring the other knee across, and control the leg. From here, one leg pulls, and the other leg pushes in a scissor-like movement. Sweep him across, and you find yourself mounted like that. You may find that when you get to this position and you slide your hip away, it could be of major help for you if you slide your shoulder back this much. In other words, rest the weight on your hip and raise your shoulder off the ground a little bit, because by moving out of the way, he's already leaning with the weight that way. So it'll give you a lot more control on his weight. If from here, you simply raise your shoulder off the ground a little bit and move your head back. He's already tilted that way. Makes it a lot easier for your leg to sweep him over and end up in a mounted position. One last time, please, Hoist. So he's in the guard here, puts the leg up, I uncross the leg, slide my hip away, move the shoulder back, just enough to increase your chances to tilt his weight off balance even easier. From here, the legs will scissor and mount. That's the plan. So from this position, he's got my arm, I have the hand on his neck. Okay, I'm going to rest my weight on his calf, which is going to be substituted by my foot on the ground right now. The trick is to swivel your hip away. This is the move. Bringing the leg across, slide your shoulder back this way. Just raise your shoulder off the ground 1 inch so that you can move back. And then the legs now scissor, and you find yourself mounted on your opponent. Okay. If he's got his knees on the ground, and he never raised the leg up to pass the guard, it's okay for you from here to also put the foot on the ground, legs across, uncross your legs, put your foot in the ground, raise your hip a little bit, scoot your hip away, bring your legs across, and sweep your opponent this way. It works just as good. One more time, please. From here, leg up. It's one variation to do this move. If he doesn't put the leg up and it's just stay here like this on my guard, I can also put my foot on the ground, scoot my hip away, and use the same principle, hooking my leg and catching the other leg this way. Let's turn this way a little bit. Let's turn all the way around. Push the leg up, please. Rest my leg here, and I scoot my hip away. That's the move. My feet here, from here, scissor, mount. That's one option. Once again, if he keeps his knees down, put the foot on the ground, just enough so I can raise my hip, scoot my hip away, put my legs in this position, slide your shoulder, and mount. Okay. Position again. Sometimes, put your leg up, please. When you're doing this move, the guy senses he might be thrown, he puts his knee on the ground and spreads his base, so he's now got a much better, wider base. It's harder for me to flip him over. In this case, once again, slide your shoulder back. This foot goes in front of his knee, and you can push the knee away and throw the guy over to end up mounted on him again like that. From here, foot on the ground. If he's got his knees on the ground, the same thing. Foot on the ground, scoot your hip away, and get ready for this. If he spreads his base, push the knee and pull this arm to stretch him to the side and end up mounted on him like this. So if he puts the leg up, rest your calf on his leg, scoot your hip away. I'm ready to throw. He puts his base back on the ground to resist. Push the knee and pull the arm to end up mounted on him this way. Turn around, Wes, please. I do this move. One thing you can do if you want at this point is if he spreads his base, is to bring this leg inside his leg here, making a hook this way. Now I can push the knee, and this hook gives even more control to lift him up, and I can end up on top of him this way. Ultimately, what you're looking for is to feel the balance of your opponent so that you can feel which way you want to take him. At this intermediate level, you're not just looking at exactly what you're doing, but you want to develop a sense of what else can be done in relation to the other positions that you're learning. Let us see now another finishing hold, a very practical one that we call the triangle. When a person is on the process of passing the guard and he starts to bring the hand inside the leg and his shoulder gets under your leg right here, this leg will plant itself on the neck, put your foot in the ground, scoot your hip away, bringing the arm across the side. This leg will be right here behind his neck, hugging him close to you with this. This leg will now go over your own foot like this, making a figure four. Like if you need to pull your foot under, it's fine. From here, secure this, lock your knee over your own foot, and then squeeze with the legs and raise your hip. So there's one, bringing the hand under the leg, lowers the shoulder, the leg go over this way. Very important that you slide your hip out of the way here. You gotta move your hip to the side. Bring his arm across, fit the leg here and over. If you wanna put your hands behind his neck, you can do that to increase the pressure here. Or just by raising your hip will do it, or lift your hip up and squeeze. One time please, Royce. So I'm here with the hand on the collar. You lower the shoulder on the process of passing the guard. Once the shoulder goes under the leg, bring the leg across to hold him down. Scoot your hip to the side. Bring the arm out of the way. Fit the leg over here. And then lift your hip up and bring his head down. 1. Bring the hip across is the trick. 2, 3. Shut your breath. Sometimes when he's passing the guard and gets the shoulder under the leg, and you're thinking about going for the triangle, he raises his head. What we do now here is that we slide the hip around and put the leg over the head so that you can then hyperextend the arm by raising your hip. You want to use your hand if you want here for balance. If you want to use this hand, slide your hip away, leg over, and then hyperextend the arm by raising your hip. Once again, the trick is to allow your body to pivot underneath him. Lower the hand, Wes.
Tem que virar mais pra cá, hein, cara.
Lower the shoulder here. Bring your body way out. The more you spin your body under, the easier it will be to do this. Bring the leg over, raise your hip, and then straighten the arm like that. So one more time. He raised the hand, start lowering the shoulder to get to the leg. The objective is always to get him on the triangle. That's the plan. Always. This is the objective. One more time, please. If he raises the head at this point and you lose the triangle, that's when you want to spin around, controlling his arm with this hand, and the other hand goes for his wrist, raising your hip up. So this hand stays here so he doesn't pull his arm out. He's going for this. By the time he dives into the shoulder under the leg, I want to get him on the triangle if I can help it. Always. Bring the hand around and then raise your hip to choke. Okay. All right. Here, secure the arm with this hand so he can't pull it away. If you try to go for the triangle and he raises the head, allow yourself the spinning here. Second hand goes to the arm, and then raise your hip. Just lift the hip. Leg up, please. Just going for the triangle here. I'm thinking about the triangle, always. Right here. That's the objective, is to trap the leg under here. The plan is to get the person at triangle. If, one more time, please. He lowers the triangle, the shoulder. If I can't, because he raises his head, and I can't catch my leg wrapping up on my own foot, that's when I'm going to grab his leg here, spin the body around, controlling his arm, and then bring this hand over to raise your hip up, hyperextending the elbow. Let me turn this way here one time, please. So the leg is up. You lower the shoulder. The plan is always to go for the triangle. That's the idea. Always get your fit. Time, please. And then squeeze by raising the hip up. Slide the hip away. If he raises the head way up and I can't catch the leg on the triangle, I now spin around, put the leg over the head, and raise my hip. All right. The next position here, leg up please, is when the person is on the process of passing the guard and he keeps the head so high that I can't even think about doing the triangle. He's too far away. In this case, once again please, when you start doing this, you can go directly for his leg, allow your body to spin around, and put the leg over the head so that you can then complete the arm lock right here. So if he keeps the head up high enough that you don't feel you're going to have the opportunity to get the triangle, use this hand under his leg on this side. By uncrossing your legs and curving your body forward, you can spin underneath him. Just like this. Your body should be arched up so that just one point on your back touches the ground. Allow yourself to spin, controlling this arm so he doesn't take the arm away. Leg over his head, and hold the arm, and then raise your hip. You want to walk to the side, please. So he puts the leg up. Yeah, he's going to pass the guard here. My legs are round. His head is too high, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know if he's going to drop to the shoulder so that I can catch him on a triangle or not. So my hand goes in here. Uncross your legs. Allow your body to spin around. Catch him on the neck. Hold the wrist, and raise your hip. If he loses his balance and fall down, the arm lock, I can maintain the arm lock and break the same way. So it works the same way. So leg up. Goes in here. 1, 2, and then raise the hip to hyperextend the arm. Sometimes when I try to catch the person on the arm lock here, he kind of tucks the elbow down and lowers his head. Now I can't catch his head anymore with my leg. From this position here, just push him with the leg over, and you can end up on top of him like this. Puts the leg up. I'm controlling the arm here and the hand on the collar. He's going to pass the guard. I decide to go for the arm lock by holding his leg and spin around. He tucks the head down. From here, I bring the leg over, push the leg over, and I find myself mounted on him. Be aware that when you sometimes decide to go for the arm lock, and the person is getting ready to pass the guard here, doing this, and you decide to go for the arm lock, this leg, as it swings out that way, it gives my body the momentum. I'm using my leg to carry my hip with it. I throw the leg away, and my hip is pushed that way. But what flips him over, the hand here is just as a guide to his leg. What really pushes him over, move back, Royce, for a second. This is the leg that pushes the person over. I can just push him across as I sweep the leg down and end up on top of him this way. Grab the leg, spin around, push him over, and mount. Leg up, please, once again. This leg swings out, moves this way, and the top leg pushes him over. Leg up, boys. Catch the leg. This leg swings your hip out. And again, this leg inside pushes him over and end up on top of him. So the trick, once again, is for you to feel comfortable enough and when to shift from one attack to another. You kind of mix them up until you start letting your body feel flowing into the more comfortable and more natural position to follow up with. Another variation for you to shift the position when the person is on your guard is when he's in this position like this and he decides to stand up. Okay. As he gets up, both hands can be on his collar, on his elbows like this. Uncross your legs and your feet will fall right into position inside of his hip. From here, as you uncross your legs, your feet will fall right into position. From here, you want to straight your legs slightly and hold his weight off the ground like this. My legs are straight and the weight is on my leg here, so there's absolutely no effort. Just the legs are controlling him. Pull your head out of the way so he doesn't land on your face and end up mounted on him like this. it will be very easy for you to roll over him if you make sure to keep your feet glued on his hip. You don't want to just push him away from you. Instead, as you straighten your legs and you tip his head down, his own body weight carries you over if you keep your feet, as I said, glued to his hip. So from here, you raise your legs, straighten your legs, pull his head down, and by keeping your feet, adjusted to his hip, he carries you over. Once again, hoist, please. You can also do is when he gets up, just uncross the legs and he falls right into it. One more time, please. So as he's getting up, if I just uncross the legs, he falls into the legs. I don't have to, let him carry me off the ground and then uncross the legs. So this is one option. I keep my legs crossed and then I uncross the legs and catch him. The other one, is as he gets up, I just open the legs and he finds himself right with both of my feet on his hip. Raise the legs and find yourself mounted on him at this point. The other one, get up. One. Always want to end up on top of him. It's always better for you to find yourself in a mounted position. So that's your objective. One here, both feet on the hip, raise him up, and end up mounted. If you find yourself, once again, hoist, please, with your opponent inside of your legs, and you, for example, are working on a choke on his neck, and he decides to stand up, you don't have to let go of the neck to grab his elbows. Keep your hands on the choke like this, both feet on his hip, raise the legs so that you can continue with the application of the choke without letting go of the grip on the neck. So the fact that he gets up doesn't necessarily get him free of the choke. It turns the position around so that you can end up mounted on him still with the choke hold on his neck. Another option of what could happen in this case is if the person gets up like this and you have his arms in this position here, you uncross your legs and instead of throwing him forward by putting your feet on his hip, you now rest your knees on his chest in front of him. Let go of his arms, grab his ankles, and then push him back with your knees by raising your body. From here, put your knee on the ground and find yourself mounted on him like this. Again, 8. So from here, you uncross your legs, letting your body drop to the ground again. Keep your knees pushed inwards together like this. Grab his ankles, and then as you raise your hip, push him backwards. At this point, put your knee on the ground and then come around to mount on top of him like this. Uncross your legs. Put your knees together like this. You don't want to push the person back with your calves that way. That's not, you don't have the same amount of leverage if you push this way. The trick is to keep your knees together so that as you trap his legs and raise your body up, you have the knees pushing on his chest. It's much more powerful movement if you do this action here. Put then your knee on the ground and find yourself mounted on top of him. So if the person stands up on your guard, when you uncross your legs, don't push him back with this. There's not enough leverage here. The trick is to uncross your legs, grab his ankles, and push your knees this way. Once again, please on this side. Guys, here, he gets up, uncross your legs, lower your knees, grab his feet, and push your knees this way so that he falls back from the driving power of the knees pushing him back. more time, Horace, please. Grab the ankle, push back, and then immediately follow up by putting your knee on the ground and coming on top of him. Establish again a mounted position. The other side, please. Push him back. Knee on the ground and find yourself in the mounted position. Agora existe. If when I cross my legs to push him back, he holds on to this, and he doesn't fall back, it's time for me to then put my feet back on his hip, grab the elbows, lift the legs, keep my feet glued on his hip, and end up on the mounted position like this. So if he gets up, I grab his feet, the knee, I'm pushing him back. He doesn't fall back. My hands will grab his elbow, lower my hip, bring my feet in, move my head out of the way, lift him over, and end up in a mounted position. Of course, if he keeps the arm raised this way, it's time for us to look into putting the hands on the chest, bringing the leg around, and then completing with the arm lock, as we have seen before. All right. One more option here. If the person is inside of your legs like this and stands up and is getting ready to pass the guard from a standing up position like this, he's still vulnerable to get caught on the triangle that we just saw. From here, raise the head and squeeze his neck. So the same triangle that we saw on the ground a few minutes ago, done from here, from a kneeling position, it can be done when the person is standing up. Once again, Horace, please. One. The hand goes inside, he's trying to pass the guard. I control the arm. The leg goes across his neck. Spin my body away. Catch the leg under here. And now, raise the hip. Get him on the choke. Another option is if he's passing the guard, going for this, I can grab a hold of his leg, spin around, and get him on the arm lock right here, to then raise my hip and hyperextend the elbow. So the same arm lock that we saw a couple of moments ago when Royce was on his knees can also be done if the person is standing up. So I'm here, he brings the hand inside to pass the guard, lowering the leg, I grab a hold of his leg, allow my body to spin around, catch his neck, hold the arm here, and raise my hip. Be sure to use this hand to control his elbow so he doesn't pull out. So from here, he's bringing the hand inside the leg. I got the arm controlling this. Second hand is here. My body spins around. The leg catches over his neck. One hand here. The other hand is still controlling here. Lift your hip up on the arm and then raise your hip. All right. For the next sequence, we're going to see another way to reverse the position. Sometimes you find an attacker on top of you here trying to squeeze your neck, doing something like this. Use your legs to push him back. With your hand, deflect his arm. And again with your legs, allow him to bring him forward, pull him forward with your legs. So that now you have his elbow on the ground next to you. Your hands hold each other's wrists like this. You hold the hands like that to trap his arm. The idea is to keep this arm pinned next to my neck so that he can't get the hand out. The foot will go to the ground. Scoot your hip away, out from underneath him. Inch yourself around so that this hand can now find his wrist. From here, secure the wrist. Slip this hand. Once you have this hand under control, slip this hand out of here. Leave your shoulder on the ground and climb up to hook this leg inside of his foot, his leg like that. Then you run behind his back, and you can go for that choke that we saw on the other previous tape. So the attacker is on top of you here, bugging your neck. You protect your neck from being squeezed. Use your legs to kind of shift the weight away to give you a little more breathing space. Push the arm aside and pull him forward with your legs. By having him inside of your guard, you can pretty much control his weight. See, my legs determine where do I want his body weight. So if he's bugging me with this, and I have my legs crossed around his waist, I can push him back, deflect the arm, and then pull him forward to secure the position here. I want to control his upper body. From this position, as I said, put your foot on the ground, keeping this snug so he doesn't break away from you. Scoot your hip away, inching yourself away. I loosen up the grip around his neck just enough to allow me to go around him until I can find his wrist with this hand. This leg drops under his legs. The leg on the back side here goes over, hooks inside of his leg. Climb on up, and you're now on his back to go for the choke from here. From this side here, please. So he's got the arm across the neck, squeezing my neck, rocking back, deflect the arm, and trap the neck again, just like this. Keep this controlled, secure, so he can't pull his arm out. Foot on the ground, scoot your hip away, inch yourself around, still securing this. Hold the wrist, bring your leg inside. This hand now can be slipping away. Hook the leg, climb up. From here, put the weight forward, and you're on his back for the choke. One more time, please, boys. Rocking back, push the arm away, deflecting his arm from your neck, and secure the arm. Tira o braço aqui, guys. You want to just stay with him if you have to for a little bit. Ride the position so that the arm can't be pulled out. Once you have this to a comfortable position of control, foot on the ground, scoot your hip away. I can look with my eye here, I can see his hand until I can find the wrist. Once I secure the wrist, this leg goes in, slide my hand and out, hook my leg, use my shoulder for support, and climb up so that I can find myself on his back, ready to go for the choke. Let me do this by myself 1 sec here. The person's inside of my legs, with the arm or squeezing my neck or putting the weight on my chest, rocking back, deflect the hand, and then pull him forward. Secure the wrist. This is what I want to do first to make sure that he doesn't pull the arm out. From here, put your foot on the ground, and by raising your hip slightly off the ground, it makes it very easy for you to scoot your hip away. You kind of inch yourself around if you have to, a little bit at a time. Always kind of sliding your shoulder back. From here, secure the wrist so that he can't turn this way anymore. Leave your shoulder on the ground. It's a lot easier for you to get up than if you try to put your elbow on the ground. Use your shoulder here for support or your head on the ground. From here, shoot the leg over his back and climb up. Leg goes over his back and climb up. From this position, you can now naturally just pull this arm out. And you find yourself in a position to choke your opponent. Boys, let's try this on this side, please, one time. Sometimes if the person's got the weight on your neck, and you rock him back, you push him aside, you bring him close, and you control the arm, and everything is going the way you want, and you start getting ready to go to his back, and when you start scooting your hip away, he puts that leg up to prevent you from climbing over. He's kind of bracing himself that way and leaning the weight this way. I still want to control his wrist. This time though, I'm going to bring this hand under his leg, and with this leg here, I will let my weight go this way to develop a momentum and end up on top of him. Get into the mounted position. One more time, please, boys. So I'm here, he's got the blade of the arm across the neck. I push him back, deflect the move, and find myself in this position. My plan is the same. I want to go to his back. As I start getting ready to go to his back, he puts the leg up and starts feeling my motion, and he resists by leaning the weight to the opposite side. I want to control his wrist, bring my hand under, secure the leg. The trick here is to use this leg as a way to throw his balance forward by doing this movement. I want to use the weight of the leg as a form of momentum, and then swing the leg down to end up on top of him. Walking back, big back here. Control the hand. Get a hold of his arm. If the arm is free and you can't reach that arm, this hand can also grab under his armpit right here, but still this hand goes for the leg. Allow your body to use the leg this way, and over he goes, so that you can end up on top of him. Turn the other side, please. You've got the plate on the neck. Rock him back, deflect the hand, secure your own grip. Okay? As I prepare to go to his back, he puts the leg up and start leaning the weight this way. I feed the hand, grab his wrist, like here. Control the leg, turn your hip around, swing the leg over and under, so that you can end up on top of him in a mounted position like this. So he's pushing the neck, you rock him back with the leg, deflect the arm, and go into this position. As I prepare to go to his back, he raises the leg to prevent me from going around him. I feed the hand to the wrist, bring my hand under this leg, spin my hip around, use the leg to develop the momentum, and end up on top of him. At this point, you find yourself in this position. If you want, you can just trap the neck, roll him over, fold the elbow down, turn him around, and then go for the choke. Let's do a quick review. So if the person is inside of your legs, and raise the leg to pass the guard like this, you uncross your legs, rest your weight on your calf, on his leg, scoot your hip away, slide your shoulder back, and scissor to end up on the mounted position. Once again. Uncross your legs, rest your calf on his leg, swivel the hip away, fit your legs, move your shoulder back, and then scissor with the leg. Once again, please, knee down. If he keeps his knees down, like this on the ground, you can also put your foot on the ground, scoot your hip away, fit the legs this way, control the arm, and scissor with the leg to end up mounted. So if his knees are still on the ground, foot on the ground, scoot your hip away, fit your legs this way here, slide your shoulder back, and using both legs, scissor him across to go to the mounted position. If he puts the leg up and you scoot your hip away and he braces himself by spreading his base down, from here you can put this leg onto his knee and either push the knee away and pull the arm back to end up mounted on him like this. Once again, please hoist. Leg up. Scoot your hip away. He braces himself. You can bring that leg all the way out. Catch inside of his knee. Slide your shoulder away. Push the leg. And then mount. Let's do this too, hoist, from the other side, please. So he puts the leg up. I want to scoot the hip away, but he braces himself by putting both knees on the ground. Now I can't sweep as easy because he's got too much of a wide base. So from here, I slide my shoulder back, put my foot on his knee, and either push the knee and pull the arm and end up mounted on him this way, or leg up, scoot my hip away, get ready for this, bring my leg all the way out, catch inside of his knee like a fish hook. I'm just hooking this up right here. Push the knee away, slide my shoulder back, lift the leg up, and end up mounted on him like this. The other move we're reviewing here is if he's on the process of passing the guard, he lowers his shoulder, my leg goes across, foot on the ground, scoot your hip away, bring your leg over your own foot. As I said, if you need to bring your hand to fit the leg real snug here, do so. Bring the arm out of the way, and then squeeze the neck. So he puts the leg up, the hand goes inside. As soon as the hand goes under the leg here, the leg goes across the neck, foot on the ground, scoot your hip to the side, leg over, and then raise your hip. If when you try, he's passing the guard again. If I try for the triangle, but he raises the head, I can't catch my leg anymore. Scoot your hip away, bring the leg over his head, hold the wrist, and hyperextend the elbow by lifting your hip up. Leg goes in here under the leg, scoot my hip away, and do this. As I said, if you want to just spin around by using the support here, it's okay. Or if you want to put this back leg on the ground to move your hip, it's also okay. Then raise your hip. Leg up, boys. When I secure the elbow with this hand, and I have my hand under his leg, and I do the spinning around, would also position me for the arm lock from here, regardless if I'm going for the triangle or not. So he puts the leg up, I have the arm under control on this side, my hand reaches under his ankle here on this side, uncross your legs and allow your hip to just swing freely this way, or by putting your foot on the ground, raising your hip and moving out. Either way, leg over the head, secure the arm, and raise your hip. If when I do this move, and I get ready to spin around by turning my hip, he lowers his body down, and I can't catch him on the arm lock anymore. I spin my body like I did, my leg pushes him across, and I swing this leg downwards, lifting the leg up to end up on a mounted position. Once again, my feet. So he's here, I control the arm, find the leg, foot on the ground, scoot my hip away. He lowers his head so I can't catch him on the arm lock anymore. But I'm still going to use the momentum of this leg and this upper leg here to push him over and end up on the mounted position. If the person is in my guard and stands up, uncross your legs, control both of his elbows, allow your feet to fall into his hip, straighten your leg up, move your head, keep your feet glued on his hip so that you can end up in a mounted position. Stands up, uncross your legs, control his elbow, raise your leg up, and end up in the mounted position. If he stands up and is now, oh, there's another one here, sideways. There you go. From here, I uncross my legs, put both of my knees on his chest, get a hold of his ankle, and raise your back straight, pushing the knees on his chest so that he falls backwards. And from here, put your knee on the ground and end up on the mounted position. Stands up, uncross your legs, catch his ankles, put your knees together on his chest, raise your hips straight up, he falls back, put your knee on the ground, and end up on the mounted position. If he stands up and tries to pass the guard, from here, you can also you go for the triangle at this point. From here, trap the leg, squeeze the neck. That's one option. The other one is as he's passing the guard, I grab the leg right here, bring my other leg over his head, control the arm with both hands, raise your hip, and break the arm here. On your knees, please. If he's on your guard and he's just putting the blade of the arm across the neck, rock him back with your legs, deflect the hand, bring him forward, securing your hand like this so he can't get his arm out. Put your foot on the ground, inch yourself away, control how much you loosen up on the grip to allow you to go to his back. Find his wrist, bring the leg inside of between his legs, climb on up, keeping your shoulder on the ground for balance, put the weight forward, and you are now on his back for the choke or whatever you want to do at that point. He's squeezing the neck, push him back, deflect the hand, secure the arm. As I get ready to go to his back, he braces himself for resistance here by putting the leg up and leaning the weight because I can feel his weight pushing this way. At this point, I still want to secure the wrist, get a hold of his leg, use the leg here to develop the momentum, raise him over, and find myself once again in the mounted position. Well, my friends, this concludes tape number 2. The techniques that we saw, once again, should be practiced with ease, trying to feel the balance of the movement instead of trying to force the movements to take place. On tape number 3, we're going to show you how to handle the cross-mount position. We'll see you then.
Hello, my name is Rorion Gracie. Since my brother Royce's impressive victories in reality fighting matches, everyone now recognizes the importance of ground fighting. As a result, Gracie Jiujitsu has become the #1 source of Jiu-Jitsu instruction in the world. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Intermediate was designed to build on the foundation that was established in our first series, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Basics. If you have practiced and mastered the techniques presented in the basics, you will find that your effectiveness in self-defense will be greatly enhanced by this new intermediate series. Many times in a fight, you will find yourself in a cross-mount position. The techniques we'll show you in this tape will increase your confidence in how to handle this critical situation. In this tape, we'll show you how to handle the cross-mount position, from the top or from the bottom. We will start by reviewing some of the techniques that we saw in the basic series. Once you're laying across your opponent like this, hold the wrist with one hand, bring your hand under his arm, secure your wrist. Be sure to keep your elbow next to his ear, lift the elbow up, and then slide the hand downwards. One more time, please. Elbow next to the ear,
Hold his wrist with your hand. Be sure not to use the thumb. The hand goes under. Secure your wrist. Protect your face. Lift the elbow up and slide the hand down. Another technique that we saw in the previous series is when you see the person lifting their head up, you put your head on the ground, bring your hand under his neck, around the neck, turn your body sideways, step over, hold your own wrist, cinch up the neck, turn your body sideways, and then arch back. So we have this movement that you go into this arm lock. If the person, and I'm trying to go for the arm this way, if he straightens the arm, you can bring this hand under, hold your own wrist, and then force the arm backwards, hyperextending the joint of the elbow this way. Bring this in here, Royce. So from here, I'm trying to go for this. He straightens the arm, I hold it down, and with my wrist, raise his arm upwards, hyperextending the joint of the elbow. 1, 2, he straightens the arm. You just kind of let it fall into the groove here. Push down with the hand and raise this arm, lifting the joint of the elbow upwards. That's the move. Secure the arm, go under. As I'm struggling for this, he straightens the arm. Before I was able to lock my elbow next to his neck. As I do this, he straightens the arm, and then I push down with the hand and raise the joint of the elbow. Okay. From this position, he can also move the hand around and find himself in here, with the hand down this position. In this case, you hold the hand on the wrist, bring the second hand under the arm, hold your own wrist. Turn your body sideways, put the leg over his head, and pushing off this leg, bring his arm down that way. So from here, 1, secure your own wrist, turn your body sideways, leg over the head, brace yourself on this foot, and push his hand back. The idea, once again, trap the wrist, hold your own wrist, turn your body sideways, step over. As I lean up, my whole body pulls his arm up and the hand pushes it back. Turn to the other side, Hoist. So from here, this is one move. Raise the elbow, slide down. As soon as I reach for his wrist, he straightens the arm. I go for this move, hold the hand down. And then as he turns the hand to go downwards, I want to hold his wrist in place and then lift this arm underneath his elbow to force and hyperextend the joint of the arm backwards, right here. Hold the wrist and then straighten the arm upwards. If he brings the hand down, you can secure the wrist with this hand. Second hand comes under, hold your own wrist. Turn your body sideways, step over the head, brace yourself with this foot, lean back, and bring his hand back. Hold the wrist, bring the hand under, turn your body sideways, step over the head, and then lean back, bringing his hand backwards. Okay. Another situation that might arise at this point is when the person has the hand on your collar with the thumb inside like this. You could bring your hand under his arm. With the help of this hand, feed your collar to this hand and grab way up, the higher the better, to secure this arm next to you. From here, use this hand on this side of his body to prevent him from following you as you walk around to his upper body this way. So you walk around, put your leg this way here, hold his wrist, hold your own wrist, shift the leg, and bring the hand backwards. One more time. So from here, Grab the collar, securing his arm. The hand goes to this side of his body to prevent him from walking around with you when you walk to his head. You can use your hands to pin his head, turn him sideways, and hold his wrist. I'm holding my hands this way. Got my wrist with one hand and his wrist with my other hand, just like this. From here, pull his arm forward, gluing his elbow to your chest, and then torque back that way. One more time, Royce. Find your collar. With the help of the first hand, open the collar, grab your own collar way up. Put your hand next to his body here so he doesn't follow you. Walk around, roll him sideways, and if you want to go further back, to lean your weight behind his back. This way, leaning forward is good. Hold the wrist, grab your own wrist. Leg over his head. Put your leg up or put your knee on the ground. Either one. Turn Royce a little more, please. Right here. From here, once you have the arm secured like this, bring his hand out, gluing it to your chest, and then turn over backwards. Let's do this one more time from here, right here. Lay across the side, grab the collar, bring the hand back, walk around. My hand is here to block him. Turn him over, secure the wrist, put your leg over the head, standing up, or on your knees, either one. Glue his arm to your chest, bring the arm outwards here, and then bring the hand back the other way. One more time on the other side, please. So from this position, this hand, feed the collar to the other hand, securing this arm. Bring your hand back to block his hip from following you. Walk all the way around. Roll your opponent sideways. Put your leg up if you want. Hold his wrist with one hand. Hold your wrist with the other hand. Bring his arm out and then turn him back this way. You can keep this leg up, or you can put the leg down, pinning his head, whichever one you want. They're both right. We'll look at this from another angle. Grab the collar, put your hand on this side to prevent him from following you. Walk around, turn him sideways. There's his arm. Secure the wrist with one hand. Hold your own wrist. As I said, you can keep your knees down, or you can put your leg up. Glue his elbow to your chest. Bring his hand forward, and the torque is on the whole body turning back. From here, bring it up. 1, 2, bring it back. Sometimes when you find yourself in this position, and you grab the collar, securing the collar here, put your hand on the side, walk around, trap his arm, roll him over, and you get his arm here, holding the wrist, get your own wrist, and you get ready to do this move. Let's get aside, please. Grab the collar, hand on the ground, walk around, turn him over, and you get ready to do the move, just like you did right now. Either the guy's very strong, or he holds on to his belt, and you can't pull his hand out. So now he's got a good grip to this, and I just can't yank his hand out. What you want to do here is let go of your wrist and grab your collar again. By reaching for your collar again, your elbow, the elbow rests right on his ribs. So from this position, let go of your wrist, grab your collar again. Put your leg up. The elbow, the tip of the elbow is right here, sitting on his ribs. So 1, Grab your collar too. Put your elbow in his ribs. Raise your knee. Sit back. And fall into the arm lock from this position here. To raise your hip and hyperextend the arm. Grab the collar, trap the arm, bring the hand on this side, walk around, put your leg up, hold the wrists. He's got a hold of his belt. If I can't get his hand out of here, I'll grab my own collar one more time, which brings my elbow right here to his ribs. Put my knee on his ribs, sit back, control the arm, and then raise the hip to hyperextend the elbow. Let's do this from the side again. Knee across the side, bring my hand under, find the collar. Put this hand on this side of the body, walk around. Turn him over sideways. Turn his head a little more this way. From this position, he got a hold of his belt. Right, once he's got his belt here, I hold my wrist, I hold his wrist, my hand stays on the collar like this, my elbow right here on this rib, put my knee up, sit back, and go for the arm lock, raising my hip and hyperextending the elbow. One last time, this side, please. So from here, he's got the arm raised, the hand goes under, grab the collar. This hand goes to this side of the body, walk around, turn him over, leg up. He grabs the belt. I can't pull his hand out. Go back to your collar. The hand stays on his wrist. Rest your elbow on his ribs and put your knee on his ribs. Go back, straighten the arm, hold the wrist, and raise your hip. Okay. Usually you get to the cross-mounted position when you come from here, when you pass the guard, you succeed on that and you lay across the side. That's how you get to the cross-mounted position. Sometimes you're trying to mount and the person defends very well, making it difficult for you to accomplish the mounted position, which is your objective in a fight. So if you can't mount because he's defending well, this is a thought that might help sometimes. It's the hand grabs with the thumb inside of the collar like this. The other hand you grab his belt, just like that, holding the belt just like this. From here, you put your weight on the ground here next to his neck and on his tummy. Push off him and go into this position right here. Resting your knee on his stomach and this hand squeezing across on his neck. The idea of this hand is to make him think about protecting his neck here. That's the plan, is to put the blade of the arm across the neck. And the weight should be on his stomach enough that if you stand on your feet, he'll slide away very easily. If you just put your weight on your feet. So what you want to do is kind of ride the guy, keep the weight on top of him. So if he moves, he carries you with him. In the meantime, this hand here will be across the neck, bugging his neck. So that as he tries to block or defend that hand, you can then slide your knee over and find yourself in the mounted position. Once again, hold split. So lean across the side like this. The hand grabs to the collar like this. The other hand grabs the belt. Push off him and find yourself with the weight on top of him right here. Squeeze his neck with this hand to lead him to block this with the arms, to distract him with this. As he defends this, you mount. Other side, please. So from this position, hand on the collar with the thumb inside, making sure that you grab not like this, but like this. The grip should be the thumb over the four fingers. Like this. The second hand, reach for the belt, push the weight off him, you can stand up. The plan is to leave the weight on top of the stomach and use this hand as a belt as a support. Bring the blade across the neck to squeeze his neck. As he defends, the arm squeezing his neck, slide your knee over and mount. Let's just make sure that we get this hand like this, and this other hand should be grabbing the belt like this, as if you're riding a bronco here. Grab onto the belt and rest your knee against. You can actually pull the belt and push the knee in. Distract him with this hand on the neck, so that as soon as he feels the pressure and he addresses this issue, slide your leg over and mount. Ultimately, the plan is to get to the mounted position. Sometimes when you find yourself in this position here, across the side, and I do this, grab the collar, second hand on this belt, and I jump off him and I get to this, he starts to turn a lot this way here, scooting the hip away, creating the distance by sliding away from me all the time. One thing we can do is bring the hand this way, grabbing the thumb inside the collar this way. The hand now is this way. By grabbing with the position this way, when he turns towards me, if I raise my arm, he puts the pressure on his own neck, making it more difficult for the person to turn towards me. So that's the move here, so he cannot turn inwards. Go back for a second. Let's do this. So from here, if I find him sliding the hip a lot at this point, trying to get away from me, the hand goes to the neck this way. The other hand on the belt. Pop up, so that I can put the squeeze here and distract him with that blade of the arm, preventing him from turning inward. Both of these moves have an interesting completion to them. When you grab the hand this way with the thumb inside, the blade of the arm over the neck, and the other hand on the belt here, and then you push off him and put your weight on his stomach. If the person at this point puts the hand here or tries to push you off, leaving his neck vulnerable, this hand could go under, reach in for the collar, and then choke the guy from this position. Even though you're not mounted, he's vulnerable to get choked out from this position. Let me do this on the other side. So if I'm here, I grab the collar, second hand on the belt, push off him, put the knee on the stomach, and he's trying to fight off and he's kind of ignoring this hand of mine. I'll bring my second arm always under, reach in real deep, close your hand like this, and then put the weight on his neck and choke him right here. If I have this kind of grab, with the hand coming underneath like this, the other hand grabs his belt, push off him, put the weight on the stomach, and here I am again. And once again, he's not concerned about this hand on the neck. This hand goes on the same side of the first hand, follows the first hand. All I gotta do here is bring the arm around, and there's I got a choke on his neck again. So from here, if I have this move, grab the hand way in, this hand grabs the belt, push off the ground and off his body so that I can land my weight on top of him. If he's not blocking that arm, I'll bring this hand under, grab with the other hand underneath the first arm, coming around, putting the arm around the noose, and then squeeze. So quick detail on this hand here. Let me turn your head this way a little bit. So the first hand goes in this way, grab way in. The second hand goes under the same way. I grab both collars on the same side of his neck. 1, 2. Bring the hand around the neck, and as I turn around, it's pretty very tight around the neck over there. Okay? So from here, the first hand is on the back of the neck. The second hand goes under, grabbing the same side. Of course, that the more distance you keep between the hands, the weaker will be the choke. So what you want to do is bring your hand way back in, and then the second hand will fall as deep as possible, touching each other. This way, by the time you bring your hand around, the hands are already close enough together that will increase the pressure on the neck tremendously. You're able to squeeze his neck now. Other techniques that we can use when we are in a cross mount position and you put your knee on the person's stomach are the following. If he puts the hand on the knee to try to push your knee away with his hand, you can secure the wrist, bring this hand under here, under his arm, step over the head, and then complete with this arm lock. So I'm laying across the side, grab the collar, get up in base. He puts the hand to push my knee away, secure the wrist, step over his head, find your hand through here between inside of his arm, hold your own wrist, shift the legs, and then bring it back. So from here, get up, hold the wrist, bring the hand through here, leg over his head, and then shift the arm back. Oops, the other side. Grab the collar, hand on the belt, get up in base. As soon as he puts the hand on the knee here, hold the wrist, bring this hand inside of the arm, drop the leg, glue his elbow to your chest, and torque the arm backwards. If when you go up, put your knee on the stomach, he pushes the hand on the knee, hold the wrist, you bring the hand around. If he grabs his belt at this point, with this hand, you can always go back to your collar, put your elbow on the ribs, sit back, and then find yourself with the arm straight or hyperextended joint of the arm. So from this position, grab the belt, hand on the collar, up, put your knee on the stomach. If from here, he puts the hand on the knee, I go for the arm lock. Hold the wrist, step over the head, hold my own arm with this. If he goes back and grabs his belt here, and then I can't pull the hand away, my hand goes back to the collar, putting my elbow right on his rib, knee on his rib cage, sit back, and I now have the arm exposed for the arm lock again. If I'm in this position, grab the belt, the collar, put the knee on the stomach, and he does this move here, then hold the wrist, step over. This is what I'd like to do, bring the hand straight back. If he grabs the belt, my hand goes back to the collar, elbow on the ribs, put your knee on the ribs, sit back, and do this. Try to keep the legs snug here so that your legs are not too much spread out. Kind of keep it adjusting his arm with your legs. Glue it to your chest and then raise your hip up. If when you put your knee on his stomach, get to this position, he decides to just push you back up like this, control his arm, leg over the head, and sit back. And you have his arm right here for the arm lock. Want this way, Royce, please? So from this position, I decide to go up, put the knee on the stomach. He's pushing me back. Control the arm. Put the leg over the head. Sit back. Adjust the knees. Control his wrist. And then raise your hip to hyperextend the elbow. The other side, please. So from here, grab the collar. Hand on the belt. Push off him and get up. He's pushing me away with this hand. Secure the arm. Leg over the head. And sit back. And then raise your hip up for the arm lock. 2, 3. From here, for example, if he keeps the arm down, we have the option of the choke, right? We talked about this. If he puts the hand here, we can go for the arm lock. If he pushes me back up, secure the arm, leg over the head, sit back, keep your knees together, and then raise your hip up this way. When I go up to my knees again, if he puts this hand, if he raises this hand to push me away with this hand, I can also let go of the belt, bring this hand around, trapping his arm, grabbing my own collar, way up, thumb inside, and this hand on his elbow to prevent him from rotating the arm. The idea is to bring it outward so that he can't just rotate the arm. If I put like this, he could just bend the arm and peel out. But if you hold the elbow and roll this arm out, this hand is on the collar, pull his arm out, and then you can bring it inwards, bring his arm towards you by pushing it inwards with the blade of the arm. From here, secure the arm, bring the other hand in, force the arm inwards, bringing it this way. So from here, grab the collar, hand on the belt, jump up. Hand is up, grab the collar, control the elbow, and then curve inwards, forward. Grab the belt, other hand on the collar. Hop up, he's got the hand straight, arm straight this way. Control the arm, bring the second hand in, and bend forward. Hand on the collar, grab the belt, push off him, stand up. Arm is sticking up, trap the arm with this, second hand comes in, bend the arm inwards. Let us see one more move so that when you have your knee on your stomach, you can give him a hard time one more time. From this position here, once again, I grab the belt, reach for the collar, push off him, put my knee here. When he puts the hand on the knee like this, you can also bring your hand on the inside, bringing his elbow up, stepping over the leg, pressing the knee on his stomach, and going right for the arm lock. Once again. So from here, hold the belt with one hand, the other hand with the thumb inside the collar. Push off him, find yourself in base here. As he brings the hand, you can either go for that arm lock this way that we talked about, or you can bring your hand on the inside, raising his arm. From here, step over the leg, spin around, and you got the arm right here for the arm lock. So from this position, grab the collar with the thumb inside, second hand on the belt. Hop up, put your knee on the stomach. Bring the hand inside, raise his arm, step over the head, spin around, and when you sit back, you have the arm right here. Keep your legs together, snug. So from here, grab the collar, hand on the belt. Hop up, knee on the stomach. He pushes the hand on the knee, bring your hand on the inside, raise his arm, step over the leg, over the head, and as you sit back, you have the arm right here. One last time here. From this position then, grab the belt, hand on the collar. Hop up, bring your hand inside of the arm, step over, spin back, and you keep your knees together, hold the wrist, and raise your hip. Okay. So these are some of the techniques that you have when you are on top, some suggestions that you can do on the attack when you're on top of the person. If you find yourself on the bottom with your opponent on top of you, if you find yourself with the opponent on top of you like this, and you're now on the bottom, on the cross mount position, on the bottom end of it, the first thing you want to do is get the person from this almost mounted position into your guard, which is the safest position to be if you have to be on the bottom. So he's across the side. I want to bring my hand under the arm like this, and the second hand wedging my elbow on this hip right here. From this position, you want to scoot your hip away, bring your knee underneath him, and put him on your guard. Let me do this by myself twice, one time. So if I'm here, and you have the opponent laying across, put your arm under his arm, this elbow, the arm braces his hip. Once again, flatten your leg, put your foot on the ground so that you can scoot your hip away. Be sure you raise your hip off the ground a little bit so that you can scoot your hip away. Hold him away with your arm, with the frame of the arm, and bring this knee through, bringing him back inside of the legs. So from this position here, he's laying across, his legs are on this side. I'm going to wedge this hip with my arm, bring this hand under his arm, scoot my hip away, bring the knee through, and then cross your legs behind his back. When you start bringing your knee underneath the person's body, more often than not, this leg is going to get stuck inside of his legs. If you keep trying to bring the leg out, you're going to get stuck. So the trick at this point, as soon as you bring your knee as far as much as you can, put this foot on the ground and use this foot to scoot your hip away. So it kind of feels like this. You wedge your opponent with the elbow, scoot your hip away, bring your knee through as much as you can. You can only go so much with that knee. Now plant your foot on the ground, and using this foot, scoot your hip back away so that you can put him in your guard like this. Twice, one more time, please, on this side. So from here, bring your hand under his arm. The other hand is wedging the elbow. Scoot your hip away. Bring your knee through here. See, I can only go this much. You're going to find yourself stuck with this. If you want to help with this leg, to hold his leg back, to give a little more movement is fine. But ultimately, this foot here on this side has to rest on the ground so that I can plant my foot and then move my body away to end up with him inside of my legs in the guard. Okay. Another situation that might occur is when you're having a person across the side. He then turns his body sideways, puts the top leg back to prevent himself from falling back. If I lift my hip up, he braces himself with this leg, and then he swings the foot over to this side. The plan is to go up from here and goes to the mounted position. That's his objective. Across the side, please, hoist. What happens is, this is the leg protecting him from falling back. At the moment that this leg comes over here and steps on this side, his body weight is still on this side. So if I lift my hip up and roll him back, I will be able to throw him backwards because his weight will be off balance, easily to be taken backwards. That's the position. He's sideways with the top leg holding him back. The trick here is your sensitivity to feel his body weight remains on this side, even though his leg swings over to this side. So just the leg moves over, the same leg that was bracing him from falling back. So as soon as this leg travels over and touches the ground, there's nothing protecting him from falling back. That's the moment that you lift your hip up. Once again, hoist, please. If when the leg raises from the ground and is halfway up, and you lift your hip up, now he has time to back up with that leg and brace himself. Timing is of the essence, because when you bring your leg over here, hoist, when he touches the ground, that's the time to lift your hip up. If you do it too soon, he has time to step back with that leg. So the trick is waiting for the leg to touch the other side, and then you lift your hip up and roll him back. Let's do this from the other side, Horace, please. So here, I can actually see, I can see his leg right here, hand around the waist, both feet on the ground, and as he steps over, time to lift your hip up and roll him back. One last time on this side, please. Again, if you do it too soon, raise your leg, Horace. He has time to go back and brace himself with that leg. The trick is to bring this leg over there, and only when he touches the ground, you have to raise your hip and roll him back. Back up, Horace, please. If you wait too long, step over, Horace, he mounts. And now the lifting of the hip is not going to work. If he raises the hip off the ground, it doesn't work. So the timing here, leg up, Horace, is to lift your hip and roll him back. Okay. 1 second, let me do it by myself, please. So from this position, the hand is under his arm, the other hand is holding his waist, both feet on the ground. As soon as I feel his foot lift on the ground, if I do now, he's got time to back up the foot. If I wait for his foot to touch the ground here, he doesn't have time to come back with the leg before I can roll him back. So only when the foot goes over and touches the ground, that's when you raise your hip and roll him over. So from here, the other situation is, instead of having the top leg back this way, instead of having the leg this way, your opponent now shifts the position of the legs. He keeps the bottom leg straight and the top leg kind of tucked in next to me. By having the top leg tucked in here, I can't lift my hip and roll him back anymore because this leg is now bracing him. With this leg now bracing him, it makes it impossible for the person on top to just swing the top leg over. He can't keep one leg straight and step over with the other leg. He now is forced to slide the knee gradually over my stomach. It's a different way of accomplishing the same position to get into the mounted position. And because he's shifting his balance to be able to slide the knee gradually over my stomach, and I can't just roll him back, I'm going to use an option which is to use my elbow to lift his leg up. As soon as he puts the weight over to this side, the back side gets very light. See how light his leg feels getting off the ground here. By lifting the leg up, I can now bring my leg under his leg, catch the leg, put my hand here on the shoulder, scoot your hip away, bring your knee out, and then cross your legs behind his back. One more time, please, boys. So the trick is to use this elbow close to his knee, right here under his knee. In this case, I recommend that you keep one leg flat, because if you keep both legs up, you're going to take more time to bring the leg down underneath him. As soon as you see this leg straight, this leg should be flat, because you know he's going to have to slide the knee over the stomach, and this facilitates or saves time as he brings the knee over, Horace, please, over my stomach. My leg is already coming underneath him. As soon as he throws the weight over, it's easier. Put your legs closer to the objective, which is to go under his leg. Trap his foot, scoot your hip away. Once again, by lifting my hip off the ground, it makes it a lot easier for me to bring my knee through, my hip away. I then bring the knee through on this side and cross the legs. So from this position, once again, please, same thing. He's sliding the knee, I keep my leg flat. As I do this, he keeps bringing the weight over. I lift his leg up, bring my knee under, catch the leg. If I don't trap his leg, it's easy for him to just go over and mount the leg over here. He can do this and establish the mounted position. So it's important when you get your leg out, you secure the position by controlling his leg. The hands now will work on bracing his knee so that you can scoot your hip away and bring your knee out. Sometimes you might find this leg trapped in here, making it difficult to get your leg out. I recommend that you put your weight on this leg, transfer your weight to this foot, so that you can swivel your hip this way, making it easier for you to get your leg out, and then cross your legs behind his back. The other side, please. So that's the move. From here, my elbow, because the leg is straight, my elbow is tucked in here, right underneath his leg. Leg flat on this side. As he slides the knee over, I feel his weight shifting over. Lift the back leg, catch the knee. Scoot my hip away. Don't just try to bring this leg over, because more often than not, your foot's gonna get stuck. Put your foot on the ground here, swivel your hip back this way, and then cross your legs behind his back. And the other one's right here, okay? Top legs, the bottom leg is straight, the top knee goes on my stomach, hand is under his arm. Once again, the trick is if I try to dig in the leg and lift him up now, it feels too heavy, I'm gonna get stuck. The moment is when his weight shifts over. That's when the leg feels light on this side. That's the trick, that's what makes it easier for you. Lift the leg up, catch the knee, plant your foot on the ground, and then scoot your hip away as much as you need to. Bring the leg in. If your foot gets stuck under his leg, plant your foot on the ground here, transfer the weight to this leg, and then swivel your hip back so that you can now cross your legs behind his back, which is your objective if you're on the bottom. All right. If when you do the same movement, he's got the leg straight, sliding the knee over the stomach. You do the same movement here. If your opponent leaves the weight on this side, as you scoot your hip away, you might consider the option of, instead of putting him in your guard, to do this move here. If his weight is in this position, consider reaching out with this hand to grab his wrist. Slide your hip further out, and with the top leg, reach over and catch his leg, so that you can find yourself behind his back and you can go for the choke or whatever you want to do at that point. Look at this on the other side, please. Actually, they should be the other way. That's what I meant right here. All right. Once again, so the hand is under here, the leg is flat. He's going for the mounted position. I lift his leg up, bring my leg under, trap the leg. As we talked about, you could put him on your guard. But if his weight is down here, there's no reason why not take an offensive stance here, which is reach over for his arm, grabbing his wrist with this hand, scoot your hip away, clear yourself a little more space, rest your shoulder on the ground and climb up. Now you're on his back so that you can get him on the choke or attack him from behind. This side, please. The other side. Under, leg flat, elbow on the ground. He goes over, I raise the leg, catch the leg under. I feel his weight is on this side. I scoot my hip away, reach over, get a hold of his wrist on this side. Reach the leg over his back. I put my knees on his back here. Stand on this side, please. So from here, raise the leg. Sometimes, back up for a sec, voice. Sometimes when you're doing this move, you might want to just bounce your hip one little bit. Go ahead, voice. Because by bouncing your hip, it gives you just enough of a little, just enough to get the leg out. Just kind of throws him up, and then you bring your leg under. So you bounce your hip just to throw his weight up, catch the leg. Trap the leg here. Secure the arm. Work your way around. Be sure that you don't try to get this arm out first. A lot more work. Keep your shoulder on the ground. Use your shoulder or your head on the ground if you need. Secure the wrist. Scoot your hip away. Leave your shoulder on the ground and just climb up with the foot. From here, by bringing the leg over, I'm already on my knees. All I have to do is raise my hip. And that puts me in a very solid, strong position behind his back. Okay. All right. If when the person is about to mount, you bounce your hip up, catch his leg, scoot your hip away, get a hold of his arm, everything is happening the way I want. But now, I can feel his weight is pushing me that way. I can't go over his back. He's got too much weight pushing that way. He's resisting that. Secure the wrist, bring this hand under his leg, scoot your hip, swing the leg for momentum, and then throw him over. And you'll find yourself in the mounted position. Once again, hoist please. The other side. So I'm here. He's about to mount. I lift, bring the leg under, catch the leg. I'm planning on going to his back. But he's leaning the weight backwards here. I catch the wrist. If I can't get a hold of the wrist because the hand is too far, it's okay. Just hold around his waist here, his body. As soon as I feel his weight going this way, take advantage of it and just roll him all the way around. Follow up so that you can end up on top of him in this position. Up. Scoot my hip away, go to his back, and if he resists, take him over and mount. Side, please. My idea again is to go to his back. When he resists, embrace the guy and roll him over. Follow up, but you can stay on top of him all the way around. One last time, hoist on this side. One sec. So you may ask, which one do I want to do? Well, I don't know. You have to feel when you do the technique which one flows easier for you at that time. So as we do this one right now, the next one, I don't know where I'm going to end. I'm going to try to feel his body weight because that's going to dictate to me which way I should carry his weight. Actually, he's going to tell me what's going to happen. I kind of play off his reactions, if you know what I'm talking about. Once again, hold. So he's across the side. I want to go to his back if I can. So if I have the choice, I want to do this and go here. The plan is always go on top if you can choose, huh? Okay, we have one more situation that I'd like to show you this time. When a person is across the side and he's got both of his knees on the ground and just maintaining this position, to scoot your hip away and put him on your guard is one option, as we saw a few minutes ago. However, you can also, if you want, from this position here, kind of scoot your hip away from him. It depends on how much space you can acquire between you and him. Leave your shoulder on the ground, bring your leg under and out. From here, get a hold of his leg, pull him under, take him down, and establish a position on top. Sideways, please. So here what you do is that you're going to your knees. From this position, if he gets this much, you can scoot your hip away from a little more space. Keep your shoulder on the ground. Bring the bottom leg under. Find his leg, up, down, and then immediately follow up by going on top of him. To the side, please. Away. Bring this leg under. Catch the leg, come up, and then follow up, establishing a position on top of him. See on the other side. So here, scoot your hip away. Bring the leg up and under. Get a hold of his leg, pull him under, and follow up by establishing a position on top. Let's do this move one more time. So from here, scoot your hip away, bring your elbows in, go to your knees, get a hold of the leg, pull him under, and get up. be sure that when you go to your knees, from this position, hand is under his arm, the other hand is on the hip. Tuck your elbows in, bring your knee up, walk around facing him as much as you need to, whatever feels comfortable for you. Get a hold of his leg, lift him up, and then push him back. Hoist one last time on the other side, please. So the hands are here. Scoot your hip away. If you need to bring both hands down, do it. Go to your knee. Walk around it, whatever it takes to adjust the movement to your convenience. Get a hold of his leg, bring him down, and then go on top of him. We now are going to run through a quick review of the techniques that we saw on this tape. We have seen this right here. If from this position the guy straightens the arm, we fall into this, straighten the arm. If he moves the hand all the way down, hold the arm like this, hold my own wrist, turn the body sideways, leg over the head, tighten back. He grabs the collar, this hand goes under, gets a hold of my collar, go around, walk around to his head. Let's turn this way here, please. Right here. Get a hold of the wrist, lift the arm up, glue it to your chest, and then torque back. The other side, please, right here. If I do this move, walk around, roll him to the side. He holds his belt. I get a hold of my collar, elbow on the ribs, put the knee, sit back, and complete with the arm lock. You should keep your knees together. We can also, from this position, get a hold of the collar, get a hold of the belt, push off of him, planting the knee on the stomach, bug his neck so that as he blocks the neck, we go into the mounted position. Get a hold of the collar, grab the belt, push off of here. As my hand has the thumb inside the collar, I can bring the second hand underneath, reaching for the other collar all the way in, and then squeeze with two hands. That's one option. The other option from here is to grab the collar, grab the belt, hop up, rest the weight on top of him. Instead of doing this choke, we now grab the hand under his neck, other hand on the belt. Hop up, the second hand follows this one here, bring the hand around the neck, and then complete with the choke this way. If from here, when I jump up, he puts the arm on my chest, pushing it back, I can secure the arm, step the leg over the head, fall back, and then hyperextend the arm. Grab the collar, stand up. He puts this hand here, trap the arm, secure the elbow, and then bend forward to hyperextend the arm. Grab the collar. If he puts the hand on my knee, I can hold the wrist, bring this hand under, glue the elbow to my chest, and torque back. Or from here, you can bring the hand inside, raise the hand, step behind his back, fall back, keeping the knees together, squeeze the arm tight, and raise your hip. Squeeze your hip away, bring your knee under, shift the weight to this leg, put him on your guard. If he's sideways, and he's going to step over with this leg, raise your hip, rolling back. That's one option. If the bottom leg is straight and he's sliding the knee over, use your elbow, raise the leg, trap his foot, scoot your hip away, put him on your guard, and cross your legs. or bring your elbow under, catch his leg, scoot your hip away, find his wrist, climb on his back, and end up mounted behind his back. Same thing, as he resists, rolling back, and end up on the mounted position. From here, he's on his knees, hands under in this position, scoot your hip away, tuck your elbows in if you need, go to your knee, get a hold of the leg, bring him under, and end up in a cross-mounted position. Well, this concludes tape number 3. Good work. I hope you have fun. We definitely have enjoyed very much the opportunity of sharing these techniques with you. And once again, we recommend that you take the time to walk through these techniques slowly, repeatedly, and watch for the simple details, because that's what's going to separate the proper and easier technique than a technique that requires a lot more strength. I'll see you next time, huh? Keep up the good training. All right, boys.